My name is Alex Platt, and I am a professional drummer and drum set instructor. And today we're going to talk about hand positioning and grip. Now, there are a lot of conversations about this particular topic, and I should add the disclaimer again that these are my opinions based on my professional experience. There are four main grips that people talk about. We talk about the German grip, the French grip, the American grip, and the traditional grip. In order: German grip, French grip, where the thumbs are facing up and the wrists are a little bit closer together, American grip, which sort of splits the difference between the two, and traditional grip, where the right hand could be in German or in French and the left hand is held crosswise in this fashion. Now, I like to call this positions. I don't like to call them grips because if you think about the concept of a grip, it's how you're actually grabbing the stick, whereas German, French, American, and traditional describe the angle at which you're holding your hands. So which is better? German, French, American, traditional? I say none of them are better. They're all equal, and it all depends on your body. Everybody's body is different, and we have to make decisions about how to hold our drumsticks based on what is most comfortable, what causes the least amount of tension, and what is the most efficient way for us to move. And believe me, everybody is different. I have seen hundreds and hundreds of wrists and hands and elbows and shoulders and body types all over the place, and everybody's a little bit different. So here is a quick litmus test about the best position in which to hold your hands. Drop your hands down by your sides, just like this. Pretty simple. And then pick up your elbows only and leave your wrists completely relaxed. I'm leaning in, and you can see the angle at which my wrists fall. And then if you pick your wrists back up, just like that, without adjusting the right to left angle, just pick them right back up like that, and you can see exactly where it's most comfortable for me to hold my wrists. But those are my wrists. They're not your wrists. I've seen people that do this, and their hands fall into a perfect German position, like this, slightly outward with the top of the hand facing directly up. I've also seen people who pick up their hands and it falls very much more towards the French grip spectrum. And then there are weirdos like me that like this antiquated way of holding the stick, the traditional grip. We're not going to talk about traditional grip today, but I encourage you to try the test to see where your wrists fall most naturally, and then what you do is you simply take a drumstick, put it in your hand, let your wrists straighten out a little bit, lean it close to the practice pad, and that's where you're going to be most comfortable playing. So now that we've talked about the positions, again, German position, American, French, and traditional. We've talked about positions, but let's talk about how to actually hold a drumstick. A drumstick should be able to breathe, just like a living creature. We don't want to grip it too tightly. We don't want to drop it either, though. There are two types of fulcrums that I define to my students. Now, to remind you, a fulcrum is really the pivot point of the stick. This is so the stick can bounce. How you handle your fulcrum is everything. This is the closed fulcrum. I am wrapping my index finger around the stick. This is a classical grip that a lot of concert percussionists still use today. We've got our index finger wrapped around the stick, and you notice that the back fingers end up becoming a lot less active when I bounce a drumstick like this. There's Side view. You can see my back fingers are dangling off a little bit. They're helping out a little bit, but it's really my thumb and my forefinger with the closed fulcrum are doing the bulk of the work. I'm going to go into why that's not a great idea. What I want you to try doing for this lesson is to open your fulcrum. So that means that we're opened right in here. And we're also opened right here. We're relaxed. We're only using enough pressure between the thumb and the index finger to keep from dropping the stick. Okay? If you let your fingers off, that's the amount of pressure you should use to keep from dropping the stick. And then just gently bring your back fingers, that's these guys, and bring them back around. Get some air strokes in that way, and you should feel like you're about to drop the stick at any moment. This loose, open fulcrum allows the back fingers to be far more engaged than a closed fulcrum. Let me demonstrate. If you take your index finger and very gently put it against your thumb like that, not squeezing, just basically just touching it there, you can take your back fingers with your other hand and easily maneuver them around. They're pliant, they're responsive. But if you squeeze, what happens? Try moving your back fingers now. Not so much. There's not enough pliancy, and there's not enough response there. But if you relax it, again, it becomes pliant. We put a drumstick in there, these back fingers will naturally cradle the stick rather than gripping it tightly into your hand. And that allows for a lot more bounce. No matter what position you gravitate towards, whether it's German, American, or French. So the open fulcrum is how I teach my students to play. And there's another really good reason to use an open fulcrum. It's not just that you're engaging all of the muscles in your hand to help bounce the stick. You know the saying, many hands make light work. Well, many fingers make light work of a drumstick. So if all of the muscles here are cooperating in concert with each other, you're going to find it a lot easier to bounce a drumstick. And another reason is that watch the forearm when I close my fulcrum. Watch very carefully. See that muscle squeeze up? From here. When you close your fulcrum, you're straining not just this muscle group right here, but you're straining everything up your arm, this tendon right here. A lot of people who play with a closed fulcrum end up getting tendonitis or just soreness up in this tendon. So all of this is designed to help prevent a repetitive stress injury and keep not just your hand relaxed, but to keep your whole arm relaxed. So I advocate strongly for using an open fulcrum as opposed to a closed fulcrum. There you go, the open fulcrum, and if you want to remember, it looks like a bird's beak pecking at the ground. With all of that in mind, positioning of your hands in a way that's comfortable for your body, opening your fulcrum so that your hands are completely relaxed, we can now engage in a few basic exercises. The first one is the most basic. It's the thing that you learn when you first start drumming. But it's also, for experienced drummers, if you are going to go ahead and adjust your grip in this way, it's good to go back to basics, your basic rebound stroke. Now I'm going to hold this up to the camera. I'm going to shift over a little bit more to German position to demonstrate this. And you can see that my fingers are not flaking off the stick, but rather they're always cradling it. You should always feel the weight of the stick in your back fingers. These fingers should not detach, and especially that pinky. Mind that your pinky doesn't decide to take a vacation. Just practice basic rebounds. It's the easiest thing in the world. You can do this just paying attention to your hand and then watch some TV. And you should feel the stick vibrating and moving it around in your hand as though it was alive. Treat it like a living thing. Here's left side. Just keep doing it till it feels natural, and if you feel like going faster, go faster too. So, practice basic rebounds. Another great exercise is one that's frequently used in French grip, but can be used in both French position, German position, and American position. And I think that it should be used in all three. And that is the workout for your back fingers. Let's start with the weightlifting exercise. See what I just did? I was holding the stick up here. I just push it back here like that, and then I can hit my arm just like that. And you can see that I'm gravitating more towards German position. Why? Because it's a better workout. It forces you to work a lot of these muscles in your forearm, these bottom muscles, which are actually the biggest muscles in your forearm. And then, one finger at a time is the motor. Keep your fulcrum open and relaxed. Don't clench your index finger around the stick. Your temptation will be to do that, but don't. And then use your middle finger as the motor, all by itself. Then just your ring finger as the motor, all by itself. I call it the motor because that's what's driving the kinetic motion of the stick. And then your pinky finger. The pinky is very important. People underestimate how powerful it is. It's attached to a very large muscle group in your hand, and it's attached to a very large muscle in your forearm. It's small, but it's potent, and it can take the strain off of your hand very quickly and easily. So you see now how I'm just rotating back and forth between fingers. So that's the first part of this exercise. Second part of this exercise is to use your fingers in the same way, keeping your fulcrum open, and going back and forth between middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger, back to ring finger, middle finger, etc. You can see how and then all together. Now notice that I've been gravitating towards more of a German position here. Again, it's a good workout, but I also want you to try this in French position. Here's French position. You'll notice that your index finger is a lot more active when you do it this way. And then over to American. And the nice thing about the American position is that it combines the strength of using the strength and power of the German position, but it also makes it easy to use your fingers as if you were in French position. It sort of splits the difference. It's a very utilitarian stroke. And you can go very fast using your fingers. Like that. So, part one, use the stick against your arm, or if you don't want to bruise your arm, you can put a stick like that underneath and go through your fingers one at a time, and then transfer it over to a practice pad. Go through your fingers again, one at a time, and with this exercise, you should try to hold your wrist as still as possible. Make the motion just come from your fingers. So that's the fingers exercise. Now, I know that some of you are probably asking, what about traditional grip? Well, those who are asking, like you, I am a traditional grip player. I like to switch to matched grip when I'm playing heavier music, but because I play a lot of jazz, I like traditional. It just feels nice. So here's a little fingers exercise. There's 4 of them that you can do for your hand. Left hand, or if you're playing left-handed, then it's your right hand. This is the karate chop position, and notice that I'm just using my thumb to drive the motion of the stick. Now, part 2. Fold your back fingers in traditional grip. These are your back fingers. Fold your back fingers in, flip over, and with your index finger and middle finger, bounce the stick like this, as little wrist motion as possible. Part 3. air strokes. These back fingers serve as a great kind of trampoline. Bounce off of your back fingers. So now you're using your thumb and your back fingers are just going to be giving kind of a little gentle pushback in response to the stick. Air strokes just like that. This is good exercise. Because you don't have any rebound with air, so you're basically bouncing the stick off of your back fingers. And then finally, everything together. And sometimes what people like to do is they start here, and then they switch over and they start using their index, thumb, and often their middle finger to drive the stick. And that trampoline is still active. Some people like me prefer to pull their middle finger a little bit more away from the stick, not use it quite as actively. And some people like to use all of it all together. That's all good. So for you traditional grip players, if you're looking for something to do with your fingers, that's a good one. Enjoy. So there are lots of ways to hold a drumstick and lots of little variations. Everybody's a little bit different, and what works for one drummer might not work so great for another drummer. So keep in mind that whatever technique that you decide to use, or variation thereof, just remember two things. One, it should feel natural to you. And two, you should feel completely relaxed. Our next lesson is going to be on tension and how to minimize it, because tension is an ongoing issue that every drummer, and indeed every musician, faces on a day-to-day basis. Have fun drumming this week, and I'll see you next time.